this year now working with Greg Olsen. I know you've worked with Greg before, but how does that dynamic change now that he's your full-time broadcast partner?
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. We did like a month of games together 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when Kevin would leave to host the World Series. And before I was doing the World Series, I would come over and fill in for Kevin for the month of October. And we hit it off, and we're similar life stages, I guess, with young kids at home and similar priorities and interests. And I think, how does it change when we're doing a game together every week? I think it can only be for the better. I think, like, even working with Moose these last few years, who I adore, it got better each week. And I think that's only natural. The only way to build that chemistry is to actually go out and do it.
Did you do any practice runs with Greg over the summer? Like, do you spend time together, or do you just both show up on Sunday and let it rip?
Yeah, more of that. We spent a little time together, but no formal stuff like I know Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt
Right.
have talked about doing. We haven't done any of that. And I guess part of that is that we've had that, the real life experience of doing a handful of games together.
Yeah. What makes Greg great? Like, fans can be pretty picky when it comes to national broadcasters, but it seemed like the last 2 years, everybody nearly fell in love with him as a broadcaster, as an analyst.
I think the first thing is the energy. And it's the same thing that you get when you meet him in person. He's just got so much life to him. So I think no matter what he says, people are going to relate with that. But then you listen to what he says, and the content is excellent. I think, like, you never want to be too much into this or that. You never want to be all stories. You never want to be all stats. It's like putting together a stew, right? You like a right amount of each ingredient, and he's got that knack where he studies the analytics and he can translate that stuff, but he also knows to pull it back a little bit, not turn it into math class. I think that especially for somebody who's only been doing it for a few years still, which is hard to remember because he's so good, so fast. He's got a great just sixth sense for how to balance all those different things.
What did you think of his ability to not only replace Troy Aikman, but to replace Aikman while Tom Brady was looming over that cliff?
Yeah, impossible situation, right? There's no blueprint for it. So the fact that he went out and performed the way he did, not a surprise knowing him. And then the way that he's handled it this last year, I think is pretty cool too. I know that Tom's talked about Greg's been a help to him. So that tells you a lot about him right there, that Greg's going to go out of his way to help the guy who's kind of coming and taking his spot. I've admired him. Having worked with him, I admire him as a guy, and now seeing the way he's handled it, it's just enhanced that.